Hello, YouTube fans. It's the Charles and Chuck Show. Yeah, just kidding. It's Charles and Jerome Show. We're back to tell you a little bit more about Fairmont and all the great things that are going on in Fairmont. And today, we're going to do a live remote from the subject that we're on today. I'm sitting in my office on the second floor of the Fairmont Town Hall, which used to be the Fairmont Hotel. It is one of three buildings, structures in our town that is an iconic symbol of Fairmont. This, along with our brand new library and big brick warehouse. You cannot ride into Fairmont if you have any history or any knowledge of Fairmont, ride by this building and not realize and remember that it was our wonderful hotel at one time. It was built in the late 1920s. I think it was completed in 1929. It served as the housing for many of the tobacconists that came into Fairmont during the summer season when we were the biggest little tobacco market in the world. On the back corner, on the southern back corner of this building, there is a siren that doesn't blow anymore, but at one time it was set off every day at noon, Monday through Friday, when we paid out $1 million to farmers for the sales of the tobacco that day, and it went off every single day. We call it, or it is called, I'm not sure, I've never heard anybody actually call it that, but I know it's the Charlie Stafford siren, named after the famous legendary Mr. Charlie Stafford, who was a tobacco sales supervisor. This is a wonderful building. Wonderful building. It's got a lot of history. Had a cafeteria down in what is now our courtroom, and everybody came over here and ate lunch after Sunday services in our town. The first meeting I ever attended as a town commissioner in 1977 was in the courtroom. I was sworn in that courtroom. Our water department was our town hall, our town board meeting room. Very cramped space. And over the years, it's been changed and remodeled. What's beautiful about this building is in the lobby downstairs, the floor was a 1-inch square mosaic tiles. Historic stuff. But guess what? It got old, and it rains, and it leaks, and we've had to move on or think about moving on to other sources. So Mr. Chestnut is going to explain to you some of the money that we received and some of the plans that we may be having toward moving out of this building at some point and using it for other purposes. Mr. Chestnut, why don't you tell them a little bit about the legendary and historic Fairmont Hotel and / Town Hall?
Awesome. Very good history, rich history with this building. And, always, I reminisce when you talk about this building because Mr. Stafford was from Clarksville, Tennessee.
Right.
And that's why I retired from the Army and owned a couple of businesses there. And Clarksville, Tennessee is a very, growing place. It seems like wherever Mr. Stafford goes, growth goes along with him and success, So, but, again, this is a very historic building and we're proud to call it our home of our town hall. But one of the things that struck me when I got here is that the building for itself is beautiful. It is beautiful. And that's what everybody sees when they passes by. But what they don't see is the things that's happening inside the building. Our employees love this space, but this space isn't the best for the town's pocketbook. And one of the things that I've talked about with employees when I got here was that, I say it. I try to be careful with how I say it, but there's flaws in the building as far as energy efficiency. We spend a lot of money heating and cooling this building, and that's taxpayers' money, and it's not very energy efficient.
And it rains in this building.
The building also isn't, ADA accessible to the point where it should be for a government building. And the fire suppression system isn't what we should have for this facility.
And they put me downstairs in the dispatch window one time when the elevator didn't work.
That's right.
I was
that's
down
right.
there for 3 weeks while we were waiting on parts to come in from California, Long Beach, out there in the middle of a boat somewhere, waiting on a screw or a bolt or some kind of device, so that because I don't walk upstairs, I just don't do that. I'm sorry, I just don't do
That's
that.
right.
So I was the dispatcher for 3 weeks. I had people coming in wanting me to dispatch
Yeah.
police officers.
And the ongoing maintenance costs, like you just said about the elevator, it's just a lot of money to
Right.
put in this building to continue the way we operate. So, we talked to our local representatives in the General Assembly. We brought them down here, let them look through the building, and we requested funds to build a new town hall. And yourself and the board decided to use our current town property for a new town hall. So we will be leaving this building. We're going to take careful thought about the future use of this building. Demolition is not part of the equation.
You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Make sure you heard that clearly. I was hoping Mr. Chestnut would say that plainly and eloquently.
Yes.
We're not going to tear this building down.
That's right.
It can be repaired and fixed and used by someone.
Most definitely. And we're going to explore a lot of options as we go through this process. I think it would be an awesome idea to turn it back into its original use or establish housing.
Call it a Fairmont Inn.
I like it.
Or something to that.
Yes, I like that. But just looking at what that looks like for the future, because what we don't need here in Fairmont is another vacant parking lot. We don't need that here.
And the fact we don't need 2 funerals, because if we tore this building down, the people, you've seen Frankenstein the movie?
Yes.
The pitchforks and the torches would be circling our houses.
That's right.
They would go all the way to where Mr. Chestnut lives, and I'm local, so they get to me easy.
That's
So
right.
they come kill us.
That's
There's
right.
no doubt. The people, the older people would never allow us to tear this building
Yeah.
down. The older people in this town, because they ate lunch here, they've been in this building, they love this building. It's not going to be torn down. But we got some major plans, and that's going to be a future show, I'm sure.
Most definitely, Mr. Mayor. And no one wants to see that. The state of North Carolina and North Carolina Department of Commerce does not like to see historic buildings come down. So we're going to look at what it takes to preserve it, for one, and also how to generate additional revenue for the town and its citizens in the future, so taxpayers don't continue to carry the burden of these buildings that are no longer energy efficient, that are not fire compliant. So just having a positive step towards the future. And like I said, we love it as our current home, and we're pretty certain that we'll find a use that will be acceptable to our citizens.
Right.
And we look forward to those times, Mr. Mayor.
Well, we're going to be coming back to you again, talking more about the Fairmont Town Hall / Fairmont Hotel. But for right now, we are not going to tear it down when we leave.
That's right.
We'll be back next week. Bye-bye.